This is a very privileged moment. We get to record a train coming through. How lovely. How wonderful. And it's Friday. I thought today was Thursday. It's Friday. Oh, it's another front runner. Oh. I fucking hate the front runner. With their little fucking UTA wannabe cops. Their wannabe police. Who basically get paid. Who basically get paid to fall asleep on the job. I only used the front runner once this year. That's to travel back and forth from Salt Lake. So, I don't ever really use it. I have no need to use it. There's their shitty, awful pickleball court. And there's like no room to play. Why not just keep it a tennis court? So stupid. And then people talking about it like, oh, I totally know what pickleball is. Bruh. Really? I guess Jason, whatever the fuck his name was, the fucking frisbee golf guy, knew what he was talking about. But at least he got his little frisbee golf things installed at the main city park. So, good job. Good for you, bruv. This is a complete fucking mess. I'd rather play tennis than fucking pickleball. I don't want to be associated with anything called pickle whatever. It's stupid. I don't care if you like it. It's my opinion. And I'm entitled to it. There's the park where the assault happened. Don't you like how anybody who's affiliated, and you can always tell the back the blue, the cop collar types, because they don't want you confronting your tormentors, because they say you become the villain, you become the aggressor. Who gives a fuck? They instigated the shit. So, yeah, consider yourself on reprimand. It's only taken 18 minutes to get from all the way up there to down here. 18. Everyone in the apartment must be mad. I guess they thought, oh, he sure showed him. Oh yeah, he sure showed me, everyone. I better not leave with my camera anymore. I was sure given the old what for. Now I'm going to come out and film every time I leave, just like I always have. And if you don't like it, go back inside and draw your curtains, your blinds, until I leave. Because chances are I'm just trying to make my way from point A to point B, and I'm not even acknowledging of you. But it's you who are insisting on making a federal case out of everything. Because I've always said, it takes at least an hour to walk down here. And I'm already down this way. And it's less than half an hour. Of course, I'm a lot faster on my own than I am with someone else kind of slowing me down. Because Not everybody walks as briskly as I do. So, and we're at 2300 North, which we were at 2300 North yesterday. Well, 2300 North, and go, Grandpa, go. So the school just got out. I think most of the kids have gotten home, so that's good. I can film with impunity. So I usually don't film kids, so, or people, for that matter, unless they're cringy douchebag assholes. This was 1500 West that I was on yesterday. This is the city building, I think. Most of these are just barely over a decade old, I think, unless they were put up in 2006 or 2005. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember when they were built. Tell you, if I get a breakout of contact dermatitis from touching my face as I removed that gum, I'm gonna be really mad. I'm gonna be really pissed. This is the piggy department, where the pigs hang out. There's the size limit reached. Fire department. Is there a tattered flag? I would assume they would replace that flag since it's in very poor quality. Isn't that like a violation of some sort? Raising a tattered flag, shouldn't it be retired? I'm not like an active duty person. I'm not like a Marine or a patriotism expert. But I seem to recall that there's decorum, a certain decorum and etiquette and shit like that when it comes to because it's a symbol of the country, and it's a disrespect to be flying a tattered fucking flag. Of course, it's the police department, so what do we expect? And the fucking yokels here probably have no real indication of actual patriotism. They think being patriotic means kicking out all the brown people. And immigrants are probably more patriotic than native-born people. Than naturalized-born citizens or whatever. I'm not talking about Native Americans, I'm talking about people who are actually born and raised here. That's the recreation department, right in the middle of a fucking desert. May as well be a desert, a giant parking lot. The city wants you to go over there in order to pay dues for, I don't know, Parks and Rec stuff, I guess. Which is like, it's already Meadows Park is right next door. I could go there all day. This place is already almost half an hour. Of course, I'm being slow because I'm filming everything. This place is already like half an hour out of my way. Of course, this is where they have all the fun days, and I say fun days in air quotes because it's not really fun. The Clinton fun days. Oh, a bunch of fucking bounce houses and no actual rides anymore. COVID restrictions prevented the rides, but bounce houses are okay, even though that's going to encourage more body contact than the actual rides. But yeah, okay. Makes sense of that one. Figure that one out, everyone. So there's little bits of green, little bits of grass that are trying to grow here. They're trying to sprout here. But they're struggling because this whole area has pretty much been asphalted over because they want it to be a fucking parking lot. Not a swimming complex, which would complement perfectly with the rec center. Not a little movie theater for the bored teens to go to on a Friday night. Nope. Overflow parking that only ever gets used during the months of, like, I want to say May and June for, like, Clinton days. And they call this, like, Powerline Park, I think. That's not its actual appropriate name, but that's what everyone calls it. It's a local slang name. And I expect everyone who comes through to know what that means. I mean, it's pretty easy for me to figure out because, well, it's the only park with the big, huge fucking power lines. I think this is actually Clinton City Central Park. Powerline Park is the one with the skates. The skate rink, I think. I mean, it's the same power lines. It's what they're all attached to. And that doesn't even look like a Parks and Rec center. It looks like a fucking bank. They even have a drive-through and everything. A drive-through window. I don't know if they use it. Like, what would you use it for? How would you garner such outstanding fees with the parks and the Parks and Recreation Center that would warrant you to need to drive through to pay off? Because my whole time living around here, I've never, ever, ever used. See, there's an actual tennis court with a separated basketball court. That's how you do it. I've never made once a visit of the Parks and Rec Center, ever. I've had zero need. Yeah, there's some guy out here talking to himself and filming. He's filming kids. Yeah, there's like no kids out there. There's like two kids, one over there and one over there, and I'm not even looking at them. I'm not filming them. I'm filming these frisbee golf things, though. I don't know how you play the game. Jason, or whatever his name was, told me. I think that's his name because it's the same name as my cousin. You look at these little things. You stand there, I think, and try to throw it into here. I think, but how the hell do you tally your score? How the hell do you tally your score? It sounded cool the way he was explaining it to me, but it really seems from like a beach thing that you would play like the rich kids would play in Venice Beach or something in California. It doesn't really seem like something people here would get behind. Here's a little park here. Here's a little park. They have all this space that's not being used. Well, I guess now it's being used for both jogging and disc golf. They could have had like, I heard they had plans for high school somewhere in Clinton, or at least a middle school. As big and as prosperous as this city is, they're still not independent. Clearfield is more independent. Clinton City, little clock tower, established 1896. So this was put here in Y2K when I was 16. Full-time residence. You can pause this if you want to read all this. I'm just going to scroll down and get what I can. But you can pause this if you want to read all the names. These are all old-time residents who are deceased. Celebration of the year 2000. City Administration. A. DeMar Mitchell, Joanne Hanson, John Keck, Richard Lee, Merlin Mitchell, Dennis Simonson, Dennis Clough. Individual donors and family. Dan and Debbie Miller family, S. Curtis and Kirsten Nye, Charles and Selma Summers, Keith and June Westover, William and Cynthia Wise and family. Old-time residents deceased. Just pause that if you want to read it. Wow, this has like stuff written on it on every side. Wow. So if you want to read it, just pause it. All the names, because there's a lot. I'm assuming they donated just to the slab here, not to the actual park, because most of the park is just grass. Celebrate Y2K. America First Credit Union, AT&T, they're gone. Auto Live, Barnes Banking, they're gone. Centennial Bank, they're gone. Clearfield Job Corps, Nursery, Coca-Cola. First Security, they're gone. 49er Steak. Clinton Elementary, West Clinton Elementary. So that might be West Clinton? Huh. It's a newer building than I thought. Because I don't remember it being here 20 some odd years ago. Because when I used to come out here, when I was a teen, there was literally nothing out here. It was all just field. Now they put all this stuff out here in this building, this signage. I don't know what it means. It's like whatever, I guess. Hey, man. Of course, the field's all like rained out, so there's that. At least lots of people can play baseball here, so that's good. If you're into that, I guess. There's the baseball concessions building. The little dugout, all that. So I actually had friends that worked up here and sold hot dogs and all that. Because they're not supposed to let normal people inside, but you can walk through here and order here. But they're never open. I never see them open. And you pick up here. Well, look at all this. Look at all this cool stuff they sell, but they're never open. Mexican hot dog. That sounds good. Street tacos. Well, it's been updated for COVID, so clearly they're not, like, closed. Maybe they only open for, like, game days or something. We serve Nathan's. Nathan's is a good brand. Awesome. They're better than Ballpark, in my opinion. And I like me a Ballpark dog. Oh, button's undone. But I think Nathan's is better. The other side. I don't think they even use those windows. Up there's the management room. There's like a little couch in there, and well, this has been over almost 20 years ago when I had a part-time job there. I only had a part-time job there for like 2 or 3 weekends because I was helping. I wasn't even like officially on the thing. I was like covering for someone because they hire teenagers all the time to work concessions. So I guess they had more games back in 2001. 2001, so I was 16 or 17. And this whole place is mostly field except for this. That was field. This park was here, but nobody really it seemed to me like nobody used it. In my opinion. I don't even remember. I think my friend Fred might have worked there, or it might have been his older brother at concessions back there. Yeah, Fred might have been too young. Oh, there's the secret glory hole. Ooh. Everyone here in Clinton and Sniffies. That's the hole. Oh, and there's an opening in the back. There's an opening in the back. It's not very discreet, though. You have to be very super thin to not be seen and recognized. Normally, you would walk down here where that truck is parked. And there's like a little thoroughfare, like a little paved alley sidewalk that goes between some house, like goes between the retail side of the street there, and then the houses there. Usually I walk through there. I'll show you how it's done this one time, all nice and proper. This is a nice big outfield. Yes, they used to have lots of baseball games here, because I never paid attention to what was going on when I worked concessions. So usually people were doing football shit over there, and no one was over here at the baseball field, which is obviously the closest thing to concessions. And so I'm like, who the hell are we selling hot dogs to? They're not having a game, although the floodlights were on, the stadium lights were on. And you want me to trigger everyone's acrophobia? Look at that. Oh, there's the old crucifixion site. That's where the 3 non-Mormons died years ago. They were strung up, tarred, feathered, and tied to those poles. And they threw eggs at them. There's that. Yep. That. Look at that. You could climb right there. Whoop. That's easily like what? 20 feet? 30 feet? Yeah, that triggers my acrophobia, and I don't even have acrophobia. Let me see what this says. Clinton City Park. There we go. We're actually at 42 minutes because I've just been recording everything. So this is the dash line for their 10K that they have every year. This is that little alleyway, thoroughfare I was telling you all about. Goes between there, Ross, and then the subdivision. And cars don't really come through here. This isn't my first Clinton trip. This is my first big Clinton trip. Oh, 2 cigarettes. This wall, this is supposed to be a sound barrier. This wall is like plastic. It's like hard plastic. I'll show you guys when I get up there. It's not even like an actual legit sound wall. Those things are made out of like concrete, the same material that sidewalks are made out of, or cinder block. This isn't even vinyl. It's just plastic. This layer here is really pretty. Okay. So we came out on the backside of Ross. So, look here, I'll demonstrate. It's hollow. It's hollow. Oh, this lady just waved me through. And she's like, oh, this asshole's recording. Wendy's breakfast is okay, but it's too small. Like, the breakfast sandwiches are like this big. That big. McDonald's is even at least that big. I still think Burger King's the best, in my opinion. Aww. Oh no. That's the little frosty guy from Wendy's. Now hiring homeschool. Wait, what? What did that say? Here, I'm gonna do this for you guys. They're hiring night cook. All positions, flex schedule. 801-628-5103. Now hiring homeschooled kids. Lunch. Text 801-628-5103. There you go. I don't know what that means. Homeschooled kids. Is this some sort of like child endangerment thing that I should know about? Because I'm pretty sure the legal working age here in Utah, at least, that looks disgusting. It's like a fruit pie, an apple pie made out of Pop-Tart. Yeah, there's just some things that don't need to exist. Racism, bigotry, whatever those fruit pies are, none of those things need to exist. Like how you spell town with an E at the end. It makes it seem so official. Ugh. So official. I don't think that's an LES church. I'm not sure what kind of church it is. There's the Subway, 7-Eleven, Wells Fargo, and I'll show where they're building something over there, probably more hipster hideouts. I'll show where the Albertsons used to be. So now truckers use this area because they don't have private parking anymore. See the big for sale banner? Because nobody owns it anymore. Well, I guess the bank owns it. Oh, I guess Steve Miner owns it, or whatever that name is. Where's the dumpster ducks at? This is our hangout, man. Steve Miner. For sale by Steve Miner. I guess Steve Miner owns it. The bank. This place, Hello China or something down here, they suck. They're very rude. They're very rude to their customers. And the wait staff is impatient and they don't pay attention to your orders. Because I've eaten there back in the 2000s and they were good. That's the problem. It's new Hello China. I guess their new management sucks ass. Because they're terrible when Little Caesars has always been Like, if you can afford a decent pizza, why not just get like a Papa John's or something? Why waste your money on Little Caesars? Why spend money on bad pizza when you could get a good pizza? But we're gonna go that way and try to find the city building because I have no idea where it is. So this will be fun. This is like a dance studio or something. Insurance agency, Dollar Tree, which we're not going in because I have zero reason to go in. Oh, that's a great park job. So there's some homes back here that you can see now renting. But they're not hipster hideouts. They're normal houses. Presumably. Try to get on a sidewalk or something. I feel like these people are going to try to bum rush me. They're going to try to bull rush me off of the area. See, Clinton only has like maybe just a few car washes, unlike Roy. They got almost as many car washes as they have Mormon churches. O'Reilly Auto Parts. That was something else back in the day. I can't remember what though. Wow, that's a fancy dumpster. There's a church right there. I don't think that's an LES church, although I guess it could be. There's some offices and a dentistry place. I'm trying to figure out where the hell their town city hall would be. Do you not know how to operate a car, dude? You make your own car alarm go off when you're trying to start it? I don't want to get too far in because I've never been this deep into Clearfield. Or Clinton, I mean. And we do want to turn and go up that way around Walfart and all that. Future home side of. Oh, Fizz Drinks. I could care less about coffee shop, but Fizz Drinks, yes. Oh, I like Fizz Drinks. I can never have them though because I don't live within a reasonable distance to have Fizz Drinks. These people don't have front license plates. Do you notice that? And we're in we're getting deep into farm territory right here. I can smell it. Oh fuck, look at this. This is where the sidewalk ends, folks. Oh man, I can smell it really bad. There's a horse. There's 2 horses. 3. I should have researched this, but I decided randomly I was going to come out here. And, oh, you're a pretty horse. You're a pretty horse. You can go eat a dick. Tell me to change my fucking settings. This is like their little, I don't know what you call it. Antiquated, farm equipment or something. It's all rusted out and everything. I'm definitely going to be trimming the fat on this video. If they're like, because there's nothing down here except for that John Deere thing. I'm just going to trim it. There's no reason to make it that long. Okay, so we're back to civilization almost. Up there. So, We have like 20 different isolated recordings on this camera by the time I get home. Because it's all just, it's the main footage is just over an hour, like an hour and 20 minutes. She didn't like that I was recording. People are super astute when there's a camera turned on. They're suddenly aware and observant of the law when there's a camera turned on and in their face. This is like an antiquated house. And I can smell it. It smells antiquated. It's probably from that property over there. So they got like 7 horses or something. Comfort Dental. We have one of those horses knock out your teeth. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. And it says available. So the dental place isn't even open anymore, but their sign is still going. No, we're not derelict, everyone. We're not derelict. Absolutely not. No. No way. I can't tell if this is an LDS church or not. They don't have like the little cross symbol at the top, but they do have the spire, the traditional little steeple thing. So I think it is in fact an LDS church. Church, Jesus, yep. That's church number 586 that we spotted throughout our travels. Daggerfall music playing in the background. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. You know what? I'm gonna shop that music. I'm gonna put it in this video because it's music from a free video game. You can download Daggerfall for free. My bite, my pie. Pizza your way. I don't know, that place just sounds kind of gross to me. Although not as gross as Hungry Howie's. I don't even know what the fuck is up with them. he drives off with this thing on the hood of his car. His big old thing of tea. Oh god, the voice on these things is fucking hilarious. It sounds like my friend's dad. You gotta listen for it when you hear it.
Wait. 2000 west.
Yeah. 1000 west. 2000 west. 1800 north. Stop number 4. There's a Pokemon stop right here. If you play Pokemon Go. This is one of them. Look out, everyone. Hungry Howie's is hiring. This used to be Payless Shoes. It's not anymore. At least I think it was Payless. Oh no, the one next to GameStop, that was Payless. Oh, that looks so good. Huh. Too bad I'm broke. When I lived in Layton, we used to go to Cold Stone all the time. Because it was like a stone's throw away from my apartment at the time. America's Best. This used to be Payless. Now it's not. And those people are about to get ripped off. Because GameStop sucks. That's the truth. Shady business practices. Oh, our CEO didn't just resign on the fly in 2018 or 2019. Oh no, it was only just reported all over the news. Yeah, I'm the crazy one. Oh, jeez. There's wall fart. I don't really think much more needs to be said about that. I don't like Walmart, so I'm not going to go over there. But I got my fuel for the day. There's a Pizza Pie Cafe. That blank building at the end, that used to be a Spirit Halloween this last year. That one right there. I used to work for Spirit every year until like 2019. And they totally betrayed my trust, so I will never work for that business ever again. I have a funny story about Pizza Pie Cafe. Saw these two guys walking up there. It looks like those two big guys that ride in a clown car. And then they both got out. It was on a Sunday. They're closed on Sunday. So they both go to try to pull open the door and it won't open, it won't budge. And they both these dudes are at least 400, 500 pounds apiece. They're both like big, huge, fat guys. And so they both kind of go back, waddle to their car dejectedly because it's closed on a Sunday. Why the fuck is he trying to call me? It's like 1 p.m. where you are. Dude, I'm filming. Don't call me. Seriously. That's like the Sport Authority or whatever this is. Big Five. Back in the day, I think it was a Movie Buffs. Over there, we used to have a Blockbuster. Over where the area I was. This is pretty much all of Clinton that I'm filming. So I got the deeper part, and I got the train tracks and all that. Oh no, a bunch of tires. I'm being blocked in. Whatever will I do? I guess I'll just walk around like that. Mountain Credit. It's a credit union, not a bank, but it functions as a bank. Pretty much like AFCU. I like saying AFCU because it sounds like I'm saying FU. It's like I'm saying FU, but not really. Free consultation. See, the way credit unions work is you have to have someone on the inside in order to get a membership. They're very exclusive. I feel very exclusive having an account with a credit union. Not to mention the service. The service has always been super professional. Unlike US Crank. My friend still banks there, and I'm telling them, you might want to like transfer your funds to a different bank, because U.S. Bank's not going to be around for much longer. There's Powerline Park. That's one thing I have yet to film until today, is the big Clinton walk. But I'll probably keep filming until I get to like Maverick, because we've pretty much seen everything else here. In fact, we've seen this church before and the building across from it, except I was filming at night. There, of course, is a horse field over there. Yeah, I'll stop filming before I get to the Maverick, because we've seen the Maverick. It was at nighttime, but we've seen it. We've seen the train tracks there and everything up in between, but it was at night. So I'll film till I get to the church building here, so you can see what it looks like during the day. And the old conference house, or LDS clubhouse, or whatever. Which always astounded me that they felt the need to have a separate building. Because any time I was invited to go to, church with someone, like, we always had our meetings, even if not go to church, even if it was an extracurricular activity, it was at the church campus, or on the church, the lot. And that's a charter school or a private school. I think it's actually grades K through 8. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, anytime I would go, missionaries would invite me to church with them, or just like an extracurricular activity, like a meeting or what have you, or a game, or whatever. So, there's another Lost dog sign. Lost dog. Lots of lost dogs recently. Like I'm seeing on Nextdoor and I'm seeing on Reddit and Facebook, lots of people's pets are going missing. Like I'm wondering if they're not just running away, if they're being kidnapped by people who don't have pets. Because pet trafficking, animal trafficking is a thing. People don't think that it is, but it is. And it's actually more lucrative than human trafficking because it's harder to trace. And technically it's still illegal as hell. It's just not as illegal as he just sent me a text sending me out a Christmas card. I'll have to call him. I'll call him back in a minute once I'm done filming here. It's just like the cops aren't going to regard animal trafficking with as much regard as human trafficking. I mean, there's a story about people trying to like smuggle a lion out of Africa or, you know, endangered animal cubs or whatever out of India and Africa. What the fuck? Seriously? It's still on like 4 seconds. These lights here are so fucking messed up. Seriously. It's like people will turn their cars in off mode because these fucking stoplights here. That's like so much pizza. Someone will just stop their car because there's like, you see that plane up there? Can you see it? I can't zoom, but can you see it? Church number 687. Yeah, I might not share the same ideology or even be at all religious, but like, you know, plenty of Mormon people have been welcoming and you know, that's regardless of their intent. If it's, oh, we're going to try to like convert them, or we're just going to be brotherly and neighborly and, you know, be friends. Like, I didn't even question intent. I was just like, yeah, sure, you know. That's why this building here, there used to be this church's meeting house or clubhouse. Maybe that was before they decided to have certain nights organized specifically for like extracurricular events. That's what it looks like in the daytime. It's a preschool now and a daycare. Can you imagine? The building like this looks like it fits in Salt Lake. Like it belongs on Main Street in Salt Lake. And kids are going to go there for a daycare? It looks haunted as hell.